Well guys, we are back here with another video working on the Subaru. Kind of starting to get the kind of pre-dyno inspections done. We've just been going over things, and I actually just found a boost leak, which is definitely a good find. This is why you do kind of pre-dyno inspections, because you don't want to find these problems on the dyno, because it kind of wastes people's times. And if you do, and if we don't catch it and there is a small boost leak, then obviously we tune the car with a boost leak, and then you have a tune that's kind of off. So good to look over things before you get a tune done. So here we have just kind of the cap with the valve here, Schrader valve, little compressor, some soapy water. So we spray some soap down there, pressurize the system. You can clearly see we have a leak there, and I hear a leak over here. So I'm definitely gonna have to inspect down there as well. But first, we need to get this one sealed up here and move on. And I don't know, the car definitely felt like it had some type of boost leak. It never wanted to like get up and go, which I know it needs tuned, but you'd come into boost and you could feel the boost come in, but it kind of felt sluggish. So I knew there was something going on. Glad I found something. So let's get this fixed, move on to the next. Oil. Found our other leak. Well, can't really see it, but that coupler right there is leaking. So that is 2 leaks, major leaks that I've found, which is a good feeling. Tells me I'm not crazy, that the car should be feeling a little faster than it is, but I can get these fixed, take it for a cruise, and there should be a pretty big difference, because these are actually 2 major leaks. If they're leaking at this low of PSI, then you know that under load they're probably spewing out pretty good. Well, I've found and fixed 3 pretty major boost leaks at this point. Changed out 3 different couplers. So, kind of feel like an idiot. Kind of rushed through things. The cold side looks like it's pretty good. Don't hear anything, but this hot side, man, all of these were leaking. So, got new clamps, tightened everything down. It should make a pretty big difference. Well, I'm sure those 3 big leaks are going to make a big difference. So definitely feel good that I finally got around to doing that. One less thing to worry about when we get the tune. Okay guys, car's back in the air. We did take it out for a drive, and definitely holds boost better. So glad we fixed that. We're actually taking the car to the tuner tomorrow, so just brought it back in to do some final touches on it before she's ready. Picked up a filter, gonna change the oil, gonna change the oxygen sensor. I need to hook up my second fuel pump, because we are gonna try and do an E85 tune. And with the 85, you run about 30% more fuel, so we probably need that second pump. So really I just need to wire it to the relay, then I need to remember which wire, what trigger wire is going to the relay, so I can tell the ECU, so the ECU can tell it when to kick on and off. So we'll throw this filter on, then we can drop the car, put oil in it, and then finish up the other little things. All right, car is all topped off with oil. We are back on the ground again so we can work on other things. I have a new O2 sensor I picked up. This one has just been used in the, I know the car's been running really rich, and so I'm just going to take that one out, put a new one in so that the tuner has a brand new sensor to work with. So I'm going to free air calibrate this. It's all hooked up. Now we need to come into the car. Had to read over the instructions again. Turn this on. Now when you do this, you want it to be out of the exhaust. Mine is currently out of the exhaust. There we go. Well, I guess there we go. Now we can put it back in the exhaust and move on to the next thing. All right, now things are gonna start getting a little more nerdy. We need to figure out if our relay for the second fuel pump is going to work. Here I have this hooked up to a test light. So if this gets power, which this is the output to the relay, if this gets power, then this should light up. Here, luckily, I made notes when I did everything. This is the 3 relays, which are right there. And here we have fan, coils, and fuel pump. Signal wire is nitrous out 1. So we should be able to turn this on. Whoa, let's not do that yet. Just remembered I put my plastic cap back on that. That would have melted to my sensor. Would not have been good. Try this again. Alright. Offline. Key on. Online. Oh. So we go to programmable on-off outputs. Pick our signal, which we will pick nitrous. Was it 1 or 2? Don't remember. Nitrous 1. This is just the label of. This is just the label of the wire. These come pre-labeled. That way, if you are building your own harness, it's easy to do. But obviously, you can use them for other things. You just have to tell it what it's doing. So, nitrous 1, enable this. Power on value, active value. We'll have to figure out. Obviously, the tuner will be figuring all this out. I don't know if we want to do it on the engine or if we want to do it on the boost pressure. I guess he'll probably figure that out. But so we need to somehow figure out how to test this. So I'll figure out how to do that and then I'll get back. All right, so we have our test mode. This is the way to test your output modes. So this is obviously everything. Like here, for example, I know that my nitrous 2 is my fan, so I can go to on, and as you can see, the fan is running. Turn that off, and I know that my nitrous 1, which I heard the relay, so this means that when the signal wire grounds at the ECU, it throws the relay, which should give me power here. Yep. So perfect. That means that I need to retrieve the wire. When I did my fuel pump setup, I ran a wire up to the front. It's actually coiled up and sitting in here until I needed it. So let's turn that off. Burn this, I guess. All right. So turn the car off. We don't need her for now. So yeah, I'm gonna pull out this wire and we can run it to the relay and we should be able to kick on that secondary pump. All right, got things taken apart. Here are my wires. I guess I did the ground and power wire, which I could probably just ground it back there. So, but since it's already here, have a jumper wire going to ground. These are just twisted together for now, just for testing purposes. Oh, gotta get the key out of the trunk. Power on. See, this is actually fuel pressure. These are labeled wrong. Just from priming, bump it up to 26 psi. So let's go to nope, not that. Output test. Enable test mode. All right, I turn this on. I should get a secondary pump. I hear a pump running. I would assume my pressure yep, we're at 40 psi. All right, that works. Turn that off. Sweet. Now I can run these wires permanently. So this will be, for the most part, because I have two 340 pumps in here, we'll see how far that gets me. Most of the time I'll be using one. The nice thing with the standalone is I can program it to say, okay, if we are running out of fuel up top, we can see where it's running out of fuel and say, okay, at either this RPM or this pressure, then we can enable that second pump to come on, and that should throw our pressure back up, since we're going to be using a lot more fuel with the E85. So yeah, that actually went really well. It actually worked. Surprised. Did something right the first time. So yeah, I'm gonna put all these back together, and then I think I'm pretty much done. Put my sensor back in, and yeah, I think I'm ready. Get the trailer, load her up, get ready to go tomorrow. Well, I think she's all ready to go. Got all the wires wired up, topped off oil, topped off the coolant. Everything should be good to go. So I guess tomorrow we'll load it up in the trailer, and we'll take it on up there and we'll see how things go. Definitely nervous. I don't know why I'm not as confident as I was last time. I've just had more problems with the car on this go around, and so I don't know, we'll see how she does. Worst case scenario is we break something and we got to fix it. We'll try again. This car hasn't scared me yet, and I'm gonna keep building this until it scares me. Hopefully this tune will do it, but we'll see. I definitely want to feel a little nervous when I drive it. Well guys, unfortunately here we are in the shop with the car. We did go to the tuner, put it on the dyno, and started to tune, but we are having an issue with our fuel. So for whatever reason, bank 1 is running all 3 cylinders consistently richer than bank 2. And we have no idea why it's doing that. Which I've always known it has smelt rich. Ever since I've got it back together, it smelled rich. No matter what I do, it just smells rich. And so I kind of looked over everything, and everything looked fine. And so I'm like, well, maybe it's just something in the tune that I don't know what I'm doing with. And so I figured my tuner can fix it. But ends up it's a mechanical issue. We don't know why. Everything is reading the same. We have same fuel pressure on both sides. The pulse width on both sides are being told to open and close the exact same injector wise. So yeah, everything should be adding the same amount of fuel, but it's not. So we either have a wiring issue, an air issue, which I don't know if this, with this bend and this split here, is making it so it's that far off in between the 2 banks. I wouldn't think so, because there's a crossover right here which should equalize everything, but who knows, maybe it's not. So I'm actually going to be testing that. I'm going to be going through all the harness, see if I can see if there's a wiring issue, because what's weird is all 3 cylinders are the exact same richness. We pulled the plugs, all of them have black soot, the same amount of black soot on all 3 of these spark plugs, whereas these ones were good. They looked clean, like it's running where it's supposed to be. So we spent all day trying to figure it out, and then the next day I left Idaho and I was gone for 10 days. So it's just sat here. I've been thinking, going over everything, trying to see what it would be, but I won't know until we find the issue. So first thing first, intake manifold's coming off, and then I want to check timing. Maybe the cams are off by a tooth or 2, causing valves to be opening and closing at the wrong time. That could cause a rich issue. There is like maybe wiring isn't correct, power to this side isn't correct. I'll check that. Maybe it's the ECU. Maybe it's not adjusting both sides, because what's weird is if you look at the wideband, it says that it says it's where it needs to be. So that tells me that if this side is that rich, it is balancing out the 2. So that means this side's probably lean, which isn't good. So who knows? Several things I need to check: airflow, timing. I should probably do a compression test on all the cylinders. And if it was just one random cylinder, I'd say, okay, maybe I did the rings wrong in it, or maybe there's something wrong. But since it's all 3 consistently, I do think it's either a wiring issue, an ECU issue, or an air issue. Possibly cam timing issue. So I'm just going to start taking things apart and see what we can see. Well, as you can see, intake manifold is off. Gone through, checked things. Timing marks line up perfect on the engine, so the front of the engine is good. There are still some cam gears inside of the valve covers that I should check. They could be off a few degrees, which would change the valves, which could make it so potentially as I'm squirting fuel into that side, it's exiting out of the exhaust, and that would explain a strong rich smell out of the exhaust. So I'm probably going to do that later. I did hook up the laptop. I tested all the injectors. I got them to fire. You can hear them clicking. They all fire. They're all assigned to the right cylinder. So everything so far is checking out, which is frustrating. But that's how it goes. I'm actually probably going to end the video here. I'm going to continue on this, probably another video, but I feel like this one's probably getting kind of long and kind of pointless because we haven't got anywhere. For the third or fourth time, we have not made progress with this, finding one gremlin after another, but that's all right. Part of the game. That's what happens when you build a car and you don't have millions of dollars to design everything perfectly, but that's why I enjoy it. The challenge is fun. It's frustrating, but it's fun. So I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.